In this video, we're going to talk about all things kettlebell sport. It's also referred to as girovoy sport, and girovoy means pertaining to kettlebells in Russian. We're going to talk about the weight classes, the categories, the lifts, the ins and outs of competitions. And while it is a gruesome sport, it is also highly beneficial. And great efforts have been made to make it more accessible for starters. So we're going to take a deep dive in this video about this particular and very unique sport. And if you're over 40 and you want to become strong, fit, and lean without going to the gym, download my free ebook in the first link in the description. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. Let's waste no time and jump right into the 10 things you need to know about kettlebell sport. Number one, it is not a soft style. It is strength endurance-based weightlifting that makes you sweat blood and fat and humbles your ego. And everybody who refers to kettlebell sport as soft style never practiced it to begin with, because no kettlebell sport athlete will ever call this a soft style. These exercises are gruesome, are very intense, and yes, you also can learn them as a beginner, but 10 minutes with a clean and jerk with double 32s, don't come at me with saying that this is soft. This is hardcore. Now, the term soft style comes from what we in the West have been exposed to first when it comes to kettlebells. As probably many of you know, in the 2000s, the kettlebell renaissance happened when Pavel Tsatsouline came up with the hard style with his brand, with RKC, with Strong First. So people were exposed to this idea of hard style training, which is a brand. After a while, kettlebell sport then really made a big mark in the Western sphere as well. And so since people thought, well, there's way more relaxation, you don't have to be tight all the time, like in the hard style idea. Therefore, it is the complete opposite. That's why they coined it soft style. But let me tell you, this is a complete misnomer. There's nothing soft about heaving, handling, jerking, cleaning, heavy 32s. And even if you snatch it, it's only one, but it's still a 32 kg kettlebell. Go pick up the 32 and then you'll quickly find out that thing has a very close relationship with gravity. Number two, there are 3 disciplines: the long cycle, which is also referred to as the clean and jerk, the jerk, and the snatch. And these 3 exercises are so powerful. If you would do these 3 exercises in your workout schedule and nothing else, you would change your body like nothing else. Contrary to what you have been told, these are not sport-specific exercises that you only do in a sport, because if that was the case, we could say the same thing about a deadlift. A deadlift is also done in a powerlifting meet, and yet many people deadlift. A snatch is you swing the kettlebell between your legs, and then you catapult it overhead in one fluid motion, and then you repeat it. A long cycle is swinging both kettlebells between your legs, cleaning them up into the rack position on your hips, jerking them overhead into the top fixation, back down into the rack, and then you repeat. And the jerk is both kettlebells are in the rack position, they stay there, you jerk them overhead, you drop them back down, and then you repeat. So there's no clean phase. The snatch is rather endurance-based, but since you're slinging a heavy weight, especially in the professional division, it is strength endurance, but it's more. So the East Europeans refer to it as special or hybrid endurance, because you're slinging that heavy kettlebell for over 200 reps. That's at least what the elites do. So it can't be quite considered as endurance or strength endurance. It's something in between. Then we have the jerk. Here we have a more explosive exercise where we have a little bit more of a strength component, because both kettlebells rest in that rack position, and then it's one explosive jolt of energy where you transfer the energy from your legs into the arms and then into the kettlebells by extension. Then you fire them up, you jump into a second dip, you catch them, and then you drop them back down into the rack position. And the long cycle is the youngest of them all who came into the disciplines of kettlebell sport. And this includes the clean portion where you drop both kettlebells between your legs using the pendulum method that you can also use with the snatch, and then slinging them, cleaning them back up, and then engaging into the jerk. But mastering a snatch means you have to be technically very sound. Well, this goes for all 3 exercises. and you have to build up lots of volume and endurance to master it. Now, all these 3 exercises require a very special blend of strength, power, explosiveness, speed, and endurance. And this is what makes kettlebell sport so unique. And a keen observer might have noticed that the snatch and the clean and jerk, well, guess where they're from? From weightlifting. So kettlebell sport is the cousin or the brother of Olympic weightlifting. Number 3, the goal, do as many reps as possible in your sport set, which can be either 5 or 10 minutes. If you're just getting started, a 5-minute set makes the most sense. And then you slowly build up the volume to be able to handle these 10 minutes. Back in the days, Dennis told me that there was no time limit, so you had one dude, both kettlebells in the rack position, 32s, mind you, and then he was going for 2 hours and did 400 jerks. And then as time progressed, they recognized, you know what, let's break it down into a 10-minute set. With all 3 exercises, there's one important rule, and that is if you drop the kettlebell before your 5 or 10-minute set respectively is over, the set is done. There are also a couple of no counts, so you have to make sure that you really maximize and perfect your technique. Number 4, there's only one hand switch allowed in the snatch, so grip endurance matters. But it's not a prerequisite that you have to switch hands after 50% of the time has passed. Meaning, if you do a 5-minute set, you have to switch hands after 2.5 minutes, or if it's a 10-minute set, you have to switch hands after 5 minutes. No, you can also say, all right, I'm using my strong hand and I'm going for 7 minutes straight with my strong hand, and then I do the remaining 3 minutes with my weaker hand. Back in the old days, Valery Fedorenko shared with me that if you were doing a snatch set and if you did 91 reps with the left side and only 90 reps with the right side, the 90 reps were the one that counted, meaning only your weaker side was counting, which means you were required to bring up your weaker side up to speed so that it matches your strong side. This has changed now. Now you just add a total of the left and the right hand together. Number 4, you can either complete a solo or a biathlon set. A biathlon is a set where you do 10 minutes of the jerk first, then you rest, and then it's 10 minutes of the snatch afterwards. Solo means you engage in only one of the classic lifts, so it's either the snatch, the long cycle, or the jerk. Number 6 is rankings. There are standards that you can hit if you achieve a certain amount of reps in your set. It starts at rank 3, then up to rank 2 and 1. And in the professional division, you can achieve a candidate master of sport that's beyond rank 1, a master of sport, or a master of sport international class. Number 7, weight categories and divisions. Your weight category determines your standard in the particular division that you want to compete in. For example, I'm 71 kg body weight. This puts me into the 74 kg weight category. In snatch, I have to hit 58 reps if I want to achieve rank 1 with a 32 kg kettlebell. And if I want to achieve Master of Sport International class, I have to hit 139 reps. According to the IKO, we have 5 divisions. We have beginners, males have to use a 16 kg or double 16s, and ladies have to use 8 kg. In the semi-amateur, males have to use 20 kg, ladies have to use 12 kg. In the amateur class, men have to use 24 kg, women have to use 16 kg. In the semi-professional class, it's 28 for the guys and 20 for the ladies. And in the professional division, it's 32s for the men and 24s for the ladies. Number 8, major institutions like the IUKL or the WKMF govern the sport worldwide. There's also smaller institutions like the IKO from Denis Vasilev. This is where I got my candidate master in sport from. Then there are other institutions that offer a different understanding or a different perspective on kettlebell sport with marathons and the pentathlon, for example, that is the IKMF. And you sometimes have different rules and regulations depending on the institutions you choose to compete in. Number 9, it's a technical, high-volume sport that builds insane strength and endurance. And this harkens back to what I said in the beginning, that these 3 exercises build your body and improve your physique and fitness like nothing else. Especially in the professional division, it gets pretty gruesome, especially with double 32s, with the jerk or the long cycle. And then you have these crazy dudes who do over 100 reps in the long cycle or over 160 reps in jerk in 10 minutes. And having these heavy kettlebells rest on your hips for 10 minutes, this is tough stuff. And I think that's one of the reasons why the sport is not as accessible, even though we have to say that it gets more popular and the barrier to entry is now lowered so that people can get started with the sport without actually having to kill themselves. But at the end of the day, the elite is just next level. But this should not deter you from learning the long cycle, the jerk, and the snatch, because they give you so much bang for your buck for general fitness. And that leads me to point number 10. It is tough, it is gruesome, but it is a game changer for your personal fitness. When you hear that highly technical exercises are not suited for beginners or are not suited for the normal population, I can tell a completely different story. We have beginners who come to us for coaching, and of course we don't start them right away with these heavy ballistics and double kettlebells, but once they've built up structural integrity, and mind you, we work with over 40s, 50s, and 60s who already have a lot of physical ailments. Once we've built up the structural integrity and they are ready, then we take them to the next level. And this is where these massive gains and benefits come in. And yes, of course, you can have these great benefits with other exercises as well. I'm not saying that these 3 are the only exercises that you're supposed to do with kettlebells. I think we call them the Big 10, and it also includes grinds like the deadlifts, the presses, the squats. So that's totally fine. But at the end of the day, if you want to get a lot of bang for your buck for the time that you're investing, it makes sense to jump into more technical exercises because you reap such a big harvest. And so I always like to compare it with stocks. If you do fancy exercises, you are investing into a set of stocks that gives you 20% return on your investment. If you invest, however, in the basics and the big rock exercises, you invest into stocks that give you 80% for your return on investment. So at the end of the day, it's then up to you. Do you want to say, you know what, I keep doing exercises that don't give me a lot of bang for my buck and I'm completely happy, I'm over 50 and I don't care if I waste my time? Or are you saying, no, if I dedicate time to fitness and sport and training, I want to make the most out of it. So I dedicate my coaching and the stuff that I do, the content that I put out, to people that say, all right, you know what? I want to maximize the potential that I have every time I pick up a kettlebell. So here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness, this is where the kettlebell comes in, and I'm going to help you get started with my ebook. So what are you waiting for? Download it right now. It's 100% free in the first link in the description or in the pinned comment.